The Secret Misses. Chapter 1181. I understand, I really do. Your beings never had any ties to history. You didn't sign any contract with the boss either, so naturally, you can handle it however you want to now. James chuckled along and even found a reason for Elias himself. After James finished, Elias hung up. While Luna looked stupefied, her heart was all over the place, yet she could not say a word. She remembered that back then, Elias did say he was a designer, but she had not believed him. What the hell? This violent madman is unexpectedly an even more talented designer than Angelo. She would not believe this even if she was given another chance. This was just too illogical. As he looked at Luna's astonished and sullen expression, Elias was finally satisfied. Black religion made a huge impact on spirit, so beings is considered my small token of sincerity. It can be a gift or a compensation to you. Please accept it. What was with his tone that sounded like he was just casually giving her a little trinket? Luna looked at the incredibly luxurious gown from the corner of her eye. That wouldn't be too suitable. Elias looked at her firmly. Don't worry, it's not meant to make up for the previous favor. My life is not that cheap. History will definitely not dare to look into this, don't think too much. Sigh, since you've put it that way, I'll just accept it reluctantly. Despite saying that she was reluctant, her hands accepted the gown swiftly. Freya, store the gown properly. Even though Elias's tone was arrogant, she now entirely believed that this dress was really just a trifle to him. Furthermore, this had been extorted from Emma, so of course, she would not waste it. As Angelo watched the way this roller coaster had progressed far beyond his expectations, he remained at a loss. History's trump card, which they had worried most about, actually knew Luna and seems to even owe her a favor. Had their rival's highlight piece now become theirs? This. Freya had been working on the side and was shocked until her jaw dropped. She only returned to her senses when Luna called for her to put the gown away, and she ran over immediately. Also, Freya, quickly contact the media to say that Spirit will announce our highlight piece today. Luna decided to strike while the iron was hot and announce both Spirit and Elias's two outfits following history's mishap. Okay. Right away. Freya was instantly excited when she heard the order. If history saw that their dress had appeared in Spirit, they would be furious. This was truly the meaning of sewing somebody else's trousseau. As Luna said this, Elias suddenly pulled onto Angelo's collar and asked, "Want to fight?" Luna quickly hid his hand away annoyedly. "What are you doing? He's an innocent designer. Why would he want to fight with you? Do you think everyone's like you? Then, why is he looking at me like that?" Elias asked coldly. Luna pinched the juncture between her brows. "My designer has been wanting to know who the designer behind Black Religion is ever since he saw it. Now that you're standing right before him, he's just taking a few extra glances at you, so what's wrong? Would it hurt you?" Chapter 1182. Angelo felt a little embarrassed. "I'm sorry, Mr. Elias, I was only interested in your design style." Elias looked at this young man in front of him with interest. "So, he's Spirit's designer?" "Yeah, didn't you mention that he made you feel like challenging him?" "Fine, I need to apologize. I'm sorry that I didn't believe you were a designer." "I'm really impressed," Luna said. Elias glanced at her. "I told you so. But Spirit's designer is not at my level and I can end him any time I want to. Do you believe me now?" Luna suddenly thought of something. Wait. So, the reason you went to history and made all this fuss was because I didn't believe in you? Yeep. Luna was speechless. What a straightforward bastard. She had guessed a million times who Emma had hired, but she did not expect that all of this had happened because of her. Luna put a hand on her forehead. "I'm wrong, my God. I'm really wrong. I'll believe every single thing you say in the future. Every single thing." Angelo was startled as well. He did not expect this person to design Black Religion because of him. He was not angry when Elias said that he could end him anytime because he really could. Angelo was actually glad that Elias saw him as a worthy opponent. Okay, as my apology and gratitude for your gift, I'll treat you to dinner tonight after the conference later. Luna told Elias. Of course, he would not reject an invitation for food. Elias gave her an okay sign, then left swiftly. After Elias left, Angelo asked Luna, Boss, do you think it's possible to recruit Mr. Elias into our company? If someone like him were to join Spirit. Luna denied Angelo's suggestion instantly. Don't even think about it. I can't control that guy at all. No matter how powerful a weapon is, if you can't control it, it'll go against you. Emma was the best example. Moreover, someone as unpredictable as him would not stay anywhere for too long. From his attitude, one could see that design was just one of his little hobbies. Angelo did not pursue any further and his eyes brightened. Talented people were out there and they were talented to the point that not even jealousy could help. He could only be impressed and continue to work on his own craft to close the gap. After a short preparation, Freya quickly released the news of the conference. The venue would be at the Royal Jazz Hotel in Imperial. Although the news was released late, the media sped to the venue as soon as possible and the news went viral. It really made people curious what Spirit's announcement would be, especially right after they got nothing from history. It was definitely big news. Chapter 1183. At the multipurpose hall in the Royal Jazz Hotel. In just an hour after the news was released, the hall was fully seated. Most of the journalists were disappointed at history. Just as they were about to write articles criticizing history, they quickly came over the moment they heard about Spirit's conference. It was very likely that they would get big news, so of course, they would reach there as soon as possible. Of course, while history was busy looking for Elias after he disappeared, they received the news about Spirit's conference. Emma sent some people over, but because she was anxious, she put on a pair of sunglasses and went there personally. She wanted to see for herself what the heck Spirit was doing. No matter what they did, as long as she could get Elias back, history still stood a chance. Elias was already so unpredictable. Even after the phone call, Emma did not give up, and she asked David to try everything he could to get in contact with him again. On the internet, history's fans said that history would never use such a method to raise their popularity and that some accident must have happened. After it was solved, they would surely present their highlight piece in the grandest way possible. Ashley's public relations team was professional as they were able to arrange the conference in a short amount of time. As most of the journalists arrived, Spirit's spokesman, the public relations director Roman cleared his throat. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Spirit will be announcing our new design. This design was made as a result of the collaborated effort of our lead designer, and Elder Song. It will be the highlight piece of our brand. Everyone was shocked when they heard Roman. Song Jean? The national painter, Song Jean? Are you kidding me? Didn't Elder Song retire a long time ago? I went to his place for an interview before, and I was not able to meet him at all. Why would he work with a fashion company like Spirit? Unbelievable. They are probably just bluffing. How can they bluff about something like this? Even history could give us fake news, so what else is impossible? Everyone, please settle down, our brand's highlight piece is going to be presented soon, and today, we're honored to have Elder Song with us. He's going to introduce the masterpiece. The people who were suspicious earlier were now dumbfounded. Song Jean was here today personally. Everyone held their breaths, they looked at the direction of the entrance. Spirit had invited so many people here today. If they were to pull a similar fluke to history, they were going to be in deep trouble. In the corner, Emma's eyes behind her sunglasses were furious. Song Jean? How is that possible? All this while, history had been attacking Spirit for plagiarizing their designs, and now Spirit was able to collaborate with Song Jean? Absurd. Song Jean was not available for hire with just money. History had tried to invite him before as well, but they did not even get to meet him in person. This is highly unlikely. Chapter 1184. History's marketing director, Lance said, boss, don't listen to their lies. How could it be Song Jin? It's probably one of Song Jin's students. Song Jin has no students, Emma replied. They might just say that Elder Song isn't coming today because he's not feeling well. They're just trying to make their words more believable, but the truth is that Elder Song retired long ago. He wouldn't know about spirit. Even if he did, he won't collaborate with them based on his personality. Collaboration? They probably just bought a work of Elder Song's, then incorporated the elements into their new design. These are all gimmicks, I've seen too much of these. Lance made his conclusion. As everyone was curious and excited. Most people had the same thoughts as Lance. Soon, two girls in Spirit's uniforms appeared at the entrance, carefully carrying a garment covered with thick cloth. They placed the garment at the center of the stage, then they stood beside it on both sides. Well, at least they are better than history. They actually have something to show, someone mumbled. Even if they have something new, it won't be able to surpass black religion. Spirit's not going to win. Borrowing Elder Song's name isn't going to help. Everyone around looked impressed the moment black religion was mentioned. You're right. Soon, a healthy, vibrant old man came in with the guidance of a young lady. The hall was dead silent as they saw Freya lead the old man in. Song Jin was the symbol of painting in the country and his picture was even printed in national textbooks. Everyone knew him, so of course, all the journalists recognized him. Song Jin. Oh my God. It's really Elder Song. For a well-known master like Song Jin, everyone stood up out of respect. Actually, Luna had not expected for Song Jin to come personally. Angelo had communication issues and could not speak the moment he faced a camera, so usually, Freya would speak in his stead. That was the arrangement this time as well, but the conference was too important, so Angelo was worried that Freya was unable to present his idea accurately. As they were thinking of a solution, Elder Song suggested to come himself. Luna was really grateful. She actually hoped for Elder Song to appear because it would be difficult to convince people they were really collaborating if he did not. Elder Song, are you really collaborating with Spirit? Master, why do you choose to work with Spirit and not other bigger brands? I heard the top China brand Lotus Step invited you before and you turned them down. History seemed to have invited you before as well. The journalists were really excited, shooting one question after another about Song Jin. Song Jin cleared his throat and he reminded them curtly, today is Spirit's new product conference. I hope everyone can get their focus right. After this, Song Jin removed the thick cloth on the garment. As it was removed, Spirit's treasure was finally revealed. Chapter 1185. The reporters, who were interviewing Song Jin one after another earlier, had all stopped and were astonished. My God. It's too beautiful. This is Spirit's highlight piece. I thought history's black religion was already the pinnacle of breathtaking, but now, we've seen the pinnacle of a completely different style. This is astonishing. El's personal style and Elder Song's painting elements combined so perfectly. This entire outfit practically makes one feel like they have fallen into Wonderland. Elder Song. Does this dress have a name? Song Jin was very happy with the reporters' reactions. He grazed his white beard and said leisurely, light as a frightened goose, graceful as a swimming dragon, with glory of the autumn chrysanthemum, dense with spring pines, like the soft clouds shielding the moon, floating like the snow returning to the wind, looking from afar, bright as the break of dawn, running swiftly to sea, luminous like lotus emerging clear waters. When he recited this, one of the reporters asked emotionally, could this dress possibly be named Luotian? Song Jin nodded sagely. That's right. Everyone exclaimed in admiration. Luotian. Luotian is indeed true to its name. How fitting. Spirit is astonishing. Exactly, they have such unexpected surprises every time. Sadly. Sadly what? Obviously, I'm feeling sad. We even met Master Song Jin today, yet we haven't met Spirit's legendary designer, L. Oh yeah. They're so secretive. What do you think this L code name means? Maybe it's the abbreviation of his name? In the corner, Emma was so angry that her face looked distorted. Damn it. Lance. What is up with you? How could not know about this huge news that Spirit managed to get Song Jin? Lance broke out in cold sweat as well. Damn it, how could he have thought that Spirit could not invite Song Jin? Besides, he was only in charge of the marketing department, so all these design stuff was not under him. Where's James? Seems like he's still looking for him. Lance muttered weakly. Emma gritted her teeth viciously. What Luotian? It's just that. As long as we find Elias and Beings is released, it will definitely crush Spirit. Yes, obviously, Lance echoed. However, his mouth was twitching. The problem was that they had to find the person first. That designer was sly in temperament and his whereabouts so uncertain. They have even called and he was not willing to let them use Beings, so where could they look for him now? It would be of no use even if they found him. Actually, when Emma had hired that person at first, he had felt indistinctively unassured and thought that she would definitely not be able to control such a person. There were too many uncertainties, and now, indeed the thing he had worried most about had happened. Boss. A person rushed over, panting behind Emma. It was James. You found him? Emma immediately asked. James looked miserable as he shook his head. And no, he seems to have blacklisted my number. I've gone to the place he might eat at, but I didn't find him. Useless. It's been so long. Don't you know where he stays? Emma cursed in rage. James looked even more miserable now. I've tried to track him before, but that guy was too alert. I couldn't even follow through. There was once I followed him, but he actually walked into the cemetery and I didn't dare to continue following. Chapter 1186. What do we do now then? Look at Spirit's new work. They've even invited Song Jin. Emma exclaimed in annoyance. James did not look pleased as well when he saw the white gown oozing magic on stage and Song Jin doing the explanation. No way, they were going to lose this round and his reputation would be gone. His company would fall. James gritted his teeth and became determined again. Boss. Don't worry. I'll just go look for him at the cemetery. Then, go quickly. Emma lowered her voice to scold him. On the stage, Roman's voice was heard. To all friends from the media, please don't rush to leave. For this press conference, we have a second highlight piece. James immediately stopped in his footsteps. Emma and Lance, who were about to leave, swiveled to the stage at the same time. What? There's still a second one? James turned pale, then he sneered, based on the first one, you can basically guess the second outfit style. It's actually the same whether there's one or two. Besides, the rarer something is, the greater its value. Of course, there should only be one highlight piece, but Spirit created two. They are so dumb. Lance observed the stage. How could they have designed two highlights of the same quality in such a short amount of time? Even if the designer had the inspiration, the cost of creating every piece is considerably high and Spirit's capital flow wouldn't have been able to handle it, would they? On the stage, Song Jin had left. The presenter was changed to a member of the crew donning a black little dress. Two crew members carefully carried out another dress that was covered in cloth, then the lady in the black dress walked to the center of the stage. Before she revealed the piece, she slowly explained, first of all, we will need to explain to all the friends in the media that this design was not a work of our designer, ZX, but another designer that Spirit has especially invited. The clothing he designed for Spirit is just this one piece, and the style is completely opposite of Luotian's. Our aim is to give our consumers different experiences and fulfill everyone's various needs. Don't talk so much, quickly reveal it for us to see. Exactly, you make it sound so mysterious. Just show us and we'll evaluate it as it is. When she heard the introduction, there was a sly smile on Emma's face. A completely opposite style? Could Spirit have prepared to come up with a piece to go against our black religion? James naturally thought of this too. That's just lunatic. Elias's style cannot be imitated by just anyone. Our piece is called Beings. When they heard the name being declared, James, Emma, and Lance were all shocked to the core. What? Beings? Did spirits steal our idea? Voila! They said as the crew members revealed the piece. An incredibly luxurious and mysterious gown with strong elements of Eastern and traditional Chinese characters appeared before the crowd. It was neither a theft of ideas, nor was it an imitation following the trend. It was Beings. This piece was unexpectedly Elias's design, Beings. The three of them were stupefied as they all looked on in disbelief. Their expressions changed like a multicolored lantern with a carousel of paper horses. The beings that had disappeared, the one they had searched all over for, had appeared at Spirit's press conference, and it was announced as their highlight piece. Their highlight piece had become Spirits. Chapter 1187. Once Beings appeared, many of the reporters present immediately stood up as they were overwhelmed with emotions. My God! I thought that black religion was the pinnacle. Who would have thought? This is just mind-blowing. What kind of aura could overcome this dress? Of course, among the praises, there were some doubts as well. But this was not designed by Spirit themselves. Didn't the announcer say so earlier? They especially hired another designer. So what if it was a special feature? Did you think that history's black religion was designed by James himself? Even though he has been vague and let people misunderstand that it was his design, but it definitely isn't. They also invited an outsider to help. Even though a designer's style can change, there are still boundaries and limitations. How could the same person have controlled such a huge span of variation? It's understandable for Spirit to hire an outsider. Besides, history did it first. Speaking of which, why do I think black religions and being styles are so similar? No matter what, Spirit has really seized overwhelming victory this time. Huh. Today has been a brilliant day. I have attention-grabbing headlines to write. As they watched Spirit's presenter introduce the piece on stage with lots of hype, and as she heard the media's endless admiring exclamations and praises, Emma was furious. What did they mean by similar style? That was designed by the same person. That belonged to history. Emma took a deep breath and suppressed the bitterness in her throat. Go report to the police. Say that Spirit has stolen our expensive highlight piece. James found it difficult and replied, Boss, I'm afraid that's not right. Even though I don't know how Spirit did it, this dress had indeed been willingly given to them by Elias. So what? All those gems, diamonds and jades on that dress, every thread on it are my money. Emma almost lost control and roared in a lowered voice. Boss, be softer. James pulled Emma to a corner. Even though that's how we say it, but, boss, Elias did not take a single cent from black religion before. If we really are to account for the cost, our claims will be quite groundless. Besides, he didn't sign a contract with us. We also provided all those materials willingly to him. Don't talk about black religion to me. Is there any meaning to a defeated design? Emma was raging at this point. James obviously knew this too. But it's already like this. So, are you telling me to grin and bear it, to watch myself sew Spirit's trousseau for them? James was also irritated at this point. Boss, obviously, I don't want that. But we really cannot mess with Elias. If you don't believe me, then, boss, please don't blame me for not reminding you when the consequences come. James spoke seriously. Emma had also heard about Elias's past from him. Even if she was about to explode to anger, she obviously did not dare to really do anything. James, listen to me. All of what's happening right now originated from your incompetence, so you know what you should do. Emma threw out her ultimatum. James balled his hands behind his back into tight fists. He did not finish using the designs he had stolen from Angelo, but because it was limited in number, and he had previously used too much from not restraining himself, he would not simply use it if not for it being a critical time. Unfortunately for him, now it looked like he really had to use a few of them. At this point, every design he used would really be like cutting at his flesh. Chapter 1188. Spirit's press conference had ended perfectly. Since they had first declared war not too long ago, they finally won splendidly this time around. Soon after the press conference ended, the internet was already filled with reports from the event. There were so many highlights and surprises from this event, and with the articles about history titled, Standing the Media Up, and Empty City Strategy, to complement, Spirit's popularity instantly exploded and the public opinion became inclined to Spirit. When she saw that everything had gone smoothly, Luna could finally relax from all the past days of being tensed up. Then she took out her phone and called Elias to treat him to dinner. To indicate her sincerity, she had invited him to her house and even called Angelo, Freya, Ashley, and the others. Elder Song did not want to disturb the youngsters' gathering, so he gave it a pass. God, come over for dinner. All of us want to thank you properly. You've given us such a huge gift, so we must definitely treat you to a meal. I'm in Peachwood. Luna invited passionately. It's too far, said Elias from the other end of the phone. Where do you live then? I'll just go pick you up. Imperial Qianshan Cemetery. When she heard these words, Luna's face instantly turned as black as charcoal. I'm sorry, I can't pick you up from this location. Change the location. How about Regal Riviera Hotel? This should be nearer, shouldn't it? Sure. Elias then hung up. Luna was speechless that he had hung up on her. Brother, who stays in the cemetery? Is he not afraid of being frightened to death? She did not know where to begin to mock him. However, she seemed to recall that she had heard someone say that he was a cemetery caretaker. The span of this guy's occupations is just too hard to understand. After Luna bought the ingredients from the supermarket, she went to prepare dinner at the Regal Riviera Hotel. It was a good thing that even though she had moved, all the kitchen tools were still complete. Angelo and the rest made their way in one after another while Luna cooked in the kitchen. When they saw all the dishes Luna had prepared, Angelo, Freya and everyone else had a strange expression. Freya looked at the pots of food on the table and swallowed her saliva. Sis Luna, isn't this too much? Luna laughed, definitely not. I was afraid that it wouldn't be enough. Hold on, there are a few more dishes in the kitchen. The doorbell rang and Luna rushed to open the door. It was Elias. He still wore the same black and white striped sports attire, but he took off the cap on his head and revealed a head of jet black long, straight hair. Speaking of which, this was really the first time she had met a man who looked so good with long hair. God, you're really good at picking your time to come. The dishes are just done. Quickly come and sit, so we can start eating. Elias sat down on the side of the table. Luna put the final pot of pork leg on the table and took her seat too. Mr. Elias, I'll drink to you, your design is really amazing. I hope that I would have more chances of interacting with you in the future. Angelo raised his glass. Freya echoed, it's really all thanks to you for this time, Mr. Elias. The press conference was very successful, and history was furious. Thank you so much. Next up, Ashley and Roman said a few words too. However, Elias looked miserable instead. When Luna noticed this, she was not sure what had made him unhappy, so she quickly asked, Hey, God, what's wrong? Elias lifted up his head to look at her. Didn't you invite me over to eat? Luna nodded. Yeah. Elias then said, I only eat, I'm not here to chat. Everyone at the table was speechless. Chapter 1189. Luna was dumbfounded. This person just kept making her speechless. Okay, let's not chat any longer. No one speaks from now on. Let's just focus on eating. God, please eat. Eat. It was only then that Elias picked up his chopsticks unhurriedly. Even though he was cool, this did not seem to obstruct his speed of eating. Very soon all the pots of food were finished. Freya, who had been smitten by Elias earlier, watched him until her eyeballs almost fell out. He had such a huge appetite. God, eat as much as you want today. There's more in the kitchen. Luna smiled and walked to the kitchen to bring over the remaining dishes. There were many people with large appetites doing live streams online recently, and they were all pretty popular. If Elias started an eating live stream as well, he would definitely top all the rest. She had invited the studio people along to show their gratitude and sincerity to him, yet he only cared about the food. He might even find them insincere for having so many people around to fight for food with him. Thus, Angelo and the rest tactfully took their leave after they were done eating. After Elias finished up the food, Luna quickly asked, God, are you satisfied with the food? Not bad, it's yummier than KFC. Luna was speechless. Her culinary skills had fallen to the point of being compared to KFC. After he was done eating, Elias got up and was prepared to leave, but a few steps later, his eyes seemed to have caught sight of something and he stopped. What is it? Luna followed Elias's line of sight to see. Elias seemed to be looking at the direction of her closet. To be exact, it was one of the gowns in the closet. Luna watched as Elias stared at the gown, then she asked, What's up? Are you interested in that gown? Indeed, great minds think alike. That's my personal favorite. It's a very cool yet rarely known brand called GE. Luna thought he was interested in the label, so she walked over and flicked the power switch on the dressing table. The wall behind the closet suddenly opened and the two doors slid away to the sides, revealing a room full of GE-branded clothes inside. Elias looked absent-mindedly at those clothes with almost a sense of sadness in his eyes that surprised Luna. God. Is there something wrong with these clothes? I designed them, said Elias plainly. When Luna heard, she was instantly dumbfounded. What? You designed them? You're that genius designer that appeared and then vanished? Wait, was there really such a possibility? You like them? Elias asked. What do you mean? These clothes? Of course, they're so beautiful. Who wouldn't like it? I don't believe any girl would dislike it. But I don't have the capability to collect all of them completely. I got these with my boyfriend's help. No girl would dislike it. That's good. Elias muttered, obviously in a tone of delight, yet for some reason, he sounded regretful and lonely. Luna stroked her chin. Something is up. This gaze of his obviously explicated that it was related to a woman. I'm leaving. Luna was still confused when Elias just waved and left. Ah. Shall I send you? Didn't you say you don't go to the cemetery? You really stay in the cemetery? Fine, as you wish. Chapter 1190. After leaving the Regal Riviera Hotel, Elias walked to where one of the largest mausoleum parks was in the Imperial Chenshan. It was not sure whether it was because he had seen his past designs at Luna's place that his train of thoughts could not help but reminisce to a time from long ago. He had already forgotten how long it had been since he recalled what had happened those years back. 7 years ago, deep in the mountains, dead trees were spread all around and the sound of wild beasts howling was heard from time to time, but very quickly, they were overcome by gunshots. Ahead, there were a few people hugging withered trees, and when one looked closely, it had been shot to resemble sieves with numerous holes. The handsome guy dashed across and the fallen leaves from the ground swooshed up into the air. Behind, 3 guys held guns and one of them wore a branded tuxedo and expensive sunglasses. Indeed they've changed. That's a completely inhumane speed. Be careful, you should know that person's background. Li Suifeng, aren't you the #1 hitman on the leaderboard and even several of Asia's underground empires have to respect you? You're terrified already? The short one looked at the sturdy, well-dressed Asian man before him and laughed lightly. Li Suifeng, even if that person's amazing, would they not be afraid of guns? The other person chuckled. At this moment, Li Suifeng, who was called the #1 hitman on the leaderboard, frowned. Venus, Jackie, even the Rothschild family who was the king of the underground in Europe, was quite afraid of his existence. When they heard Li Suifeng mention the European king, Venus's and the other person's expressions changed. No wonder you're so careful. This is the Rothschilds family's mission. I'm afraid that the only people who could invite you in this world is the old man from the Rothschild family, the short Venus said softly. I am quite wary, or else, I wouldn't have asked the two of you to assist me. That man. Li Suifeng frowned, then he suddenly realized something and did a hand gesture for the rest to keep quiet. The three bent down and crept slowly towards the forest before them. Moments later, Li Suifeng and stopped and his cold gaze looked to a faraway place. Then he called out coldly, Lord Shao, come out. You know as well as I do. This time, I've even gotten Venus and Jackie with me. Venus's and Jackie's eyes were filled with curiosity and fire as they stood before Li Suifeng. They really wanted to see what was so different about that Lord Shao that even the #1 hitman Li Suifeng had to be this wary. Roar! Li Suifeng and the rest looked startled. Ahead, they only saw a beautiful man with hair that extended to his waist standing on a huge, white tiger. Motherf *Ker, what attitude is this? He could tame a white tiger? Venus's eyes widened and she looked astonished. The white tiger's gaze was violent and the murderous vibe from it was extremely frightening. With its sharp eyes, fierce teeth, and shiny fur, one look and they could tell it was a purebred wild tiger, definitely not a domestically reared one. Who was that handsome man? How was he standing on a white tiger? Lord Shao, you won't be able to escape. Li Suifeng took a deep breath. Huh, you're Elias. I heard that your bragging skills are #1 in the world invincible Elias. When Jackie saw Elias's effeminate face, he laughed with disdain. Elias hopped down from the tiger and looked like he was in contemplation, then he shook his head. World invincible, that might not be the truth. Sometimes I'm first, sometimes I'm second. Oh. Venus took half a step forward and played around with the gun in her hand. As amazing as you may be, can you be better than the gun? Gun? Elias was dazed for a moment, then he quickly clasped his hands together and looked frightened. Have mercy. When they heard Elias say this, the little Venus and Jackie were surprised. The person before them was a figure that made the Rothschilds wary. How could he be this terrified of a gun? Lord Shao, you know that I'm an assassin. I owe the Rothschilds a favor. The mission this time is to kill you, Li Suifeng sighed. Youngster, who taught you all of your kung fu? Now that you don't have another opponent, you dare to come look for some fun from your Lord Shao? Elias stared at Li Suifeng with a grin. Lord Shao, I don't have a choice either, Li Suifeng clasped his fists together. If I die in your hands this time, I can only hope that Lord Shao will let my two friends go, Li Suifeng said firmly. To kill Elias, he had created an alliance with these two top assassins as he did not have any confidence in just himself. Li Suifeng, you were his student? Venus looked at him in shock. She knew about Li Suifeng's capabilities as the #1 assassin, but this Elias was actually Li Suifeng's master? Li Suifeng just stared at Elias and did not answer Venus's question. That old Rothschild man. Just 'cause I didn't want to marry his daughter, he got someone to kill me. Is there a woman who is befitting of me in this world? You guys, have you seen such a woman? Elias's eyes had a certain insanity in it. Elias, weren't you just begging for mercy earlier? Now, you aren't scared to die anymore? Jackie said. Nah, I was just lying to you guys. Elias shrugged, there was a simple and unadorned sword hanging on his waist. He took huge steps towards Li Suifeng and the other two. Lord Shao, forget about you, even if it was your clan, they might not dare to go against the Rothschilds. If you married Rothschild's daughter, the entire underground empire would be yours in the future, Lord Shao. Unless, Lord Shao, you're really abstaining from romantic relations and lust? Li Suifeng took a deep breath. Elias was all about martial arts, so it was not empty talk for him to denounce romantic relationships for the art. When he saw that Elias had stopped replying, Li Suifeng's eyes revealed a spine-chilling coldness. As long as he killed Elias, the Rothschild clan would grant him advantages he could only dream of. Okay, they say that Lord Shao can take a bullet. I, Li Suifeng, have not witnessed it my entire life, although after becoming the #1 assassin, I've experienced a lot more. Nevertheless, I understand that you, Elias, are not undefeatable. As the other two comprehended the end of Li Suifeng's sentence, his gun aimed at Elias and, bam! A gunshot was heard. Chong! At the same time, Elias disappeared from where he was. A flurry of fallen leaves floated in midair. What? Venus and Jackie were stunned in their spot. They were astounded that Elias had escaped Li Suifeng's bullet. Even Li Suifeng himself was shocked by this. Careful! Suddenly, Venus shouted at Li Suifeng. Wow, youngster, your speed is getting slower and slower. There are some things that cannot be solved with guns, you tell me. Elias's mouth curved into a smile and it was devilish. His right hand turned to claws and lightly gripped onto Li Suifeng's throat. I already said that you can't take a bullet, but I didn't think that you could evade bullets. Li Suifeng looked hopeless as the coldness in his eyes vanished, replaced by fear. Lord Shao, I was your student. Do you really want to kill me? Now, Li Suifeng regretted it. He knew how Elias was like, yet he had lost his mind with all the things the Rothschilds had promised. Don't worry, you're my student. I won't kill you. Elias paused for a moment, then replied. Lord Shao, thank you, However, before Li Suifeng could finish, there was a crisp sound. Li Suifeng's throat had been broken by Elias. Nah, I'm lying again, so forgetful. Elias's right hand let loose and Li Suifeng's body fell limply to the ground. When they saw that Li Suifeng had been killed in between playing it down, Venus and Jackie gasped in disbelief. Kill him. Their expressions returned to the usual calmness very quickly. They swiftly dispersed and shot a few times at Elias. Bam! Bam! Elias's sword had blocked the bullets in front of him as the sound of gold and metal clashing rang with fiery sparks flying off the sword. Bloody hell, this must be fake. Is he a human or a monster? Jackie's forehead broke out into a cold sweat. There were people who can evade bullets in this world, but who had seen someone use a sword to block a bullet? Elias, are you done playing games? Suddenly, from afar came a man and a woman. The man who spoke donned an all-black outfit and he looked grave, while the woman wore a long dress and her sharp eyes stared at Elias. She looked very pretty and sweet. I'm just playing around, Elias laughed. Original Sin's Leaderboard's #1 assassin, Asia's #1 assassin, and America's #1 assassin. Elias, who did you offend? The black-clothed man asked curiously. Rothschild, that old man. I don't want to marry his daughter, so he got someone to kill me, said Elias as he shrugged. Interesting. The black-clothed man looked in disdain. There's no one in this world that can suit you. Once he said this, that pretty girl pulled on his ear. Qin Wendian, if you continue to incite Elias, I will slap your mouth. Qin An, I'm just telling the truth. No woman in this world fits him, said Qin Wendian seriously. Me included? The girl called and said unhappily. You? You're not a common girl, Qin Wendian said helplessly. Are you guys done? The fury in Venus rushed out as she shot at the black-clothed man, Qin Wendian. Chong! Qin Wendian immediately pulled out a sword and waved it with an inhuman speed. It broke. After Qin Wendian blocked the bullet, he stared at his broken sword and his eyes turned vicious. Are you looking for death? Instantly, Qin Wendian had flown in a few steps to Venus, and before she could react, his broken sword slashed Venus's neck. Freaks, two freaks. Jackie had goosebumps now. He was America's #1 assassin and had never been defeated. The entire America would be terrified at the sound of him, yet today he had met two freaks. Do you think you can escape? As they watched Jackie escape into the forest, Qin Wendian flung the broken sword and it cut through the air before stabbing right through Jackie's head. Once they settled the two of them, Qin Wendian walked to Elias and said, Rothschild's underground influence covers the entire Europe. I heard he even has a huge influence in Asia and America. He was even the mastermind behind several war-torn countries. That amazing? Then, I guess I should just marry his daughter. Elias held his chin and thought about it before he said. There's no worldly woman that can suit you, Qin Wentian said expressionlessly. If worldly women don't suit me, do you suit me? Do you have a crush on me? Elias hinted at Qin Wentian. Bugger off. Qin Wentian tried to smack Elias, but he easily evaded. You descendants of dynasties are all so violent, that's not good, Elias laughed, then pulled the girl's hand and walked away. Hey, I'm a descendant of the dynasty too. The girl stared at Elias unhappily. Huh, Qin Shi Huang was ruthless and his descendants also have the genes of ruthlessness if I'm not wrong. In a flash, Elias reached the summit of the mountain and took the girl into his arms. In any case, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that Qin Shi Huang's descendants are ruthless anymore. The girl was annoyed and pinched his face. I know. Elias looked helplessly at this spunky woman before him. The girl was satisfied now and she happily twirled before him. Is my outfit pretty? Elias thought about it, before saying with a smirk, it'd be prettier if you don't wear it. Idiot, if you have time, you should go outside the world to look around. This is Italy's top brand and there's only a global limited edition of 10 pieces. The girl pouted and was unhappy that Elias did not know how to admire it. It's just ordinary stuff to me. Wait till I design a few for you to wear the next time, Elias said pridefully. You said so. I'll be waiting then. The girl sat down and leaned in Elias's embrace. There was a worry between her eyes. Will there be trouble since you rejected Rothschild's daughter? Trouble? Elias suddenly laughed aloud scornfully. In this world, if I wanted someone to die, they would, so who could go against me? I'll settle my scores with that old guy later. Boasting again. Wait till you defeat Qin Wentian before you brag about the title of world undefeatable again. The girl could not help but attack back. Don't mention Qin Wentian again. It's fine if he's giving up on romance since he kept urging me to. I'm a person with a wife. Elias's fingers twirled the girl's hair as he scoffed. That's because he's worried you would neglect martial arts. Only you are a worthy opponent of his, so if you're gone, there's no fun in him being alive, the girl giggled. You be careful. That old pervert better not fall in love with me or you'll gain a romantic rival, said Elias seriously. Before Elias could continue, there were sounds of footsteps from behind them suddenly. The two turned around to see a white-haired elder. Old guy, why are you here? Elias demanded. Uncle Han Yin. The girl swiftly stood up and looked at the elder with slight alarm. The elder was the master that had enlightened Elias's talent and the girl was quite familiar with him too. Before Han Yin could say anything, he walked up to the girl and then raised his hand. With the speed of lightning, the hand landed harshly on the girl. The sound of ruptured bones was heard and before the girl could struggle, she had fallen limply onto the ground. The elder had caught them off guard with the attack. Elias did not get the chance to react from the start till the end. He had to watch the girl fall before him. Elias, you disgraceful bastard. You don't want the European king's daughter, yet you've been charmed by this woman till you've lost all your wisdom. The elder did not even look at her. He just turned to look at Elias. Anne. Elias stared at the girl's fallen body. His gaze was straight ahead while his body was trembling fiercely. Elias, remember this, you must marry Rothschild's daughter. Han Yin said. Anne. Elias moved closer to the girl, squatted down, and with trembling shoulders, he hugged the girl tightly within his embrace. Shao, I'm cold. There was blood pouring out of the girl's eyes, nose, mouth, and nose. Don't blame Uncle Yin, he's just doing the best for you. The girl wanted to hug Elias tightly, but her arm hung halfway before it fell lifelessly. Anne, I'll fix you, don't be afraid. Elias quickly carried her and walked down the hill. You're lying to me again, big fat liar, you only know how to kill people, you don't know medicine, or saving people. Elias kept his face close to hers. I'll learn, I'm willing to learn anything, don't die, don't die. You once said that, you'll bring me to Kunlun summit, to see the snow. I might not be able to accompany you anymore. Can you find a safe country, find a woman who loves you more than me, to help me spend the rest of life with you? I really want to marry you and be with you, really, really do. As she finished, a huge amount of blood spilled out of her mouth and her white dress was stained a bright red color. Her body gradually turned cold in Elias's embrace. Anne. Elias's fingernails stabbed into his palm and blood flowed freely between his fingers. He put down the girl's body aside and then turned around to look at Han Een as he slowly retrieved the sword from his waist. Elias, what are you doing? When Han Een saw what was happening, he was stunned. This punk had always been respectful towards him, yet today he dared to use his sword on him for a woman? I want to deceive and destroy the ancestors. Elias held the sword and walked towards Han Een. Elias. You want to betray the entire clan? When he saw that Elias was really ready to murder him, Han Een started to feel uncertain. All because this vixen from Qin Shi Huang's bloodline made you completely lose all rationality? Han Een shouted angrily and kicked her body down the bottomless pit off the cliff. I want your pathetic life. Elias had entered a state of insanity and flew to Han Een before his sword slashed horizontally. Elias, you dare. Elias's sword was strong and vicious. Han Een evaded it awkwardly. Swoosh. The second sword struck out. Chong. Elias put the sword back into his sheath, and without another look at Han Een, he ran down the cliff. After Elias left, a huge amount of blood splattered out of Han Yin's neck. He had long been slashed at the throat by Elias. 3 days later, in the same forest, the viciousness in Elias's eyes showed as he took huge steps towards Qin Wendian. Elias, you killed Han Een. Follow me back to confess your crime, Qin Wendian said sternly. I will only say it once, bugger off. Elias's eyes were full of insanity and his body trembled lightly as if it was resisting the craziness in him. Elias, you did something wrong. Qin Wendian could not bear to see Elias like this. And is dead, said Elias. I know, I've told you from the start that you should have cut off love and lust. Anne's death was the clan's orders. It seemed to be related to the Rothschild, but you killing Han Een is betraying the clan. Xian Wentian's disturbed expression faded and he returned to calmness. Clan? Huh, they are just mediocre people and yet they dared to touch my woman. Elias laughed sinisterly. If you want to challenge the clan, there's just you and me today. Only one can live. Elias got up. You're a mess. You're not my opponent, today. I won't kill you. From now on, I, Qin Wendian and you, Elias will cut ties. In future encounters, I won't care for friendly regard, only rivalry. Qin Wendian finished, then flung his broken sword down and it pierced the ground. This 3,000 desires was given to me by you from way back when. Now, I return it to you. Elias pulled out his sword and threw it at Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian took the sword and he looked like he wanted to say something, but he said nothing in the end and left. And, where are you? I can't find you, can't find you. Only until Qin Wendian left did Elias go crazy and look all over for the girl's body, but he had never found it. Chapter 1191. The next day, history called for another press conference to explain that they met with a slight mishap the day before, hence they had to postpone the announcement. At Spirit Studio, Angelo looked at the headlines on his computer screen showing history's announcement on their highlight piece as something cold flashed in his eyes. Director Angelo, is this your design too? Freya asked. Angelo nodded. There was not much anger in his eyes. In fact, it was one of my earliest works. Even though his earlier works were immature, they had the childishness and innocence that old designers did not have. This was something that could not be imitated with experience or practice, and it was this very vibe that made the design much rarer and precious. Indeed, based on the comments online, even though it did not have the breathtaking and overflowing beauty of Spirit, the comments for History's design were not too shabby. Luna laughed. This guy has kept quite a lot of stock of drafts. The days to come will only get harder for him. If I remember correctly, there are still some backup drafts that I consider my best work. He's probably keeping them to use at critical times. Angelo said. Oh, Director Angelo, even if you can't remember all of your previous designs, you should be able to remember the more impressionable ones, shouldn't you? Can't we just release those before he does? Freya suddenly suggested. Angelo shook his head. My backup drafts and digital drafts are all with him, and there are dates on them, so if I release them before he does, we'd only be called plagiarizers. Not only that, I still need to break away from those styles and elements so as not to clash with my stolen designs. Geez, this is evil. Freya was very mad. Luna wanted to say something when her phone rang. It was Ling Gigi. Hello, Stacy. There's a celebrity charity dinner banquet tonight. You should join it and remember to prepare some suitable items for the charity auction. It doesn't need to be too expensive or outstanding. I will have Bonnie accompany you to it. Okay, got it. Luna hung up, then looked to Angelo and the rest. My babies, continue to push onwards and upwards. Your boss needs to work too. Boss, you too. Freya cheered her on. Oh yes, boss. When did you say your new movie will be screening in theaters again? Because of some scheduling problems, it's being temporarily pushed back, but it should be quite soon. I'll definitely get everyone around me to support you then. However, Freya could not have guessed that it would be hard for her to even get one ticket. Not only could she not support her, she had to ask Luna for some backstage passes instead. Thank you. The charity banquet was organized by a huge luxury brand. They had invited the big shots in the entertainment industry as well as public figures in the political and the business world. This was one of the year's largest charity banquets. The entire venue was glistening with starlight and many prominent figures were present. Luna brought her item for the charity auction, and behind her was Bonnie. The moment they walked in, they noticed a familiar figure. Johan? How could it be? Luna's eyes passed through the crowd and she fixed her gaze on the figure that had just walked over. She wanted to catch the color of that man's hair, but he had very quickly immersed in the crowd, accompanied by his bodyguards. Chapter 1192. Luna, what are you looking at? Bonnie asked suspiciously. Would that guy come to such a charity banquet? Is this a joke? Luna shook her head. She decided to forget it. Nothing, let's go. Currently, Luna wore Spirit's clothes for many occasions. Because this occasion was more important, Luna did not choose a ready-made piece and went for a high-grade bespoke design instead. Freya had initially urged her to wear the store's highlight piece, but Luna refused to. With her current identity, she could not pull off the highlight piece, whether it was Luotian or Beings, but there would be one day when she would need it. Luna walked in and bumped head-on into Emma. The piece on Emma was obviously the highlight piece that History had just announced the day before. With Emma was Liam. Emma wore a long gown embellished with handcrafted flower petals that looked like they came from the fairy tale Garden of Eden. It complemented her entire pure and innocence, while by her side, Liam wore an elegant white tuxedo. It made him look as gentle as a jade. The two of them looked like the ideal couple. Luna, you're here too. Emma obviously recognized the outfit on her. Are you wearing Spirit today? It looks really detailed. Liam, don't you think so? The last time Luna had gone to the Brown residence, she had worn Spirit's clothes as well. She had then been scolded by Rebecca and Robert for helping outsiders. If the last time had been a coincidence, Luna donning Spirit's outfit again this time could be said to have been completely intentional. Emma had also deliberately said these words while looking sad as part of her performance for Liam. However, Liam, who was usually attentive, had not noticed Emma's feelings. Instead, his gaze fell upon Luna. Luna wore a white oriental long gown with blue and red embroidery. The gradual change in the embellishment of colors, the embroidery of corals, and the translucent gentle chiffon made her look as if she was surrounded by a magical aura. The person before him was within reach, yet it made him incredibly distant from her, like she could not be touched. This feeling made his heart tighten. Liam only returned to his senses after a while. He nodded and said, "It's very nice." Emma had probably noticed the absent-mindedness in Liam's gaze too, and a coldness flashed across her eyes before she smiled slightly and held onto Liam's arm to say to Luna, "Luna, apart from celebrities donating items for the charity auction today, there are quite a few organizers who have prepared auction items for the event climax too. One of it is a crown called Queen. I fancy that especially, and Liam said he'll get it for me to use for the wedding." "Ah, right, bro, Yen and I are getting engaged soon." "Sis, you must make it for the engagement banquet then." "Engaged?" Luna raised her brows when she heard the news. So, her sister had unexpectedly disregarded that her career was in its rising phase and was getting engaged so soon? It looked like she was really compelled by the issue with the will, huh? When Xiao Tao heard Emma called Luna sis, she could not help but look on suspiciously. Why did she feel like there was a weird vibe between the three of them? Also, Emma was actually getting engaged soon. She had unexpectedly found out such huge news. An engagement banquet? Luna muttered. "Yes, sis, you'll come, won't you?" "I'm sorry, I'm quite busy recently." Next time, I'll go for sure," Luna said while beaming before turning around to leave. Bonnie was stunned for a moment, then she almost blurted out laughing. Behind them, Emma's face had turned green. An engagement banquet the next time? Damn it. She was clearly cursing her to get divorced. Chapter 1193. Liam was stunned for a moment, then he reacted miserably. Emma was just about to whine to Liam when a group of reporters surrounded them, so she gathered her emotions and smiled to face the questions from the reporters. "Emma, did you prepare anything special for the auction today?" "It's nothing special, just a few personal accessories." "Ooh, Emma's personal accessories. I'm sure it will have everyone bidding madly." "We remember that last year, Emma, you just untied a ribbon from your wrist and that fetched a bid of 100,000. All of the reporters spoke highly of it. "Well, everyone's just doing it for charity." "Emma, is there anything you want to bid for today then?" "There is one thing, but everyone will know later. It's been quite long since Mr. Liam successfully proposed. I wonder when we'd be able to attend your wedding?" Emma looked shyly at Liam beside her and said, "Soon, we'll inform everyone then." After Luna entered the hall, all the big shots and public figures were networking with small talk and chit-chat. In front of the stage, the host and auctioneer were preparing for the auction. "Luna, I'll deliver the items for auction," Xiao Tao said. Luna nodded. "Okay." Because of her clout, it was not suitable for her to bring an item that was too expensive, so Luna chose to donate a jade bracelet worth $30,000. Luna fixed her skirt and then found a place to sit down. Moments later, Xiao Tao returned and passed her a numbered bidder's card. Every guest had one for the auction later, but there was nothing she particularly wanted, so she probably would not get to use it. When all the guests had arrived, the host started the event passionately on stage. "To all the honorable guests present here today, welcome to our annual LA Celebrity Charity Banquet. Our theme for this year is Let Charity Be Fashionable. After some simple opening remarks and speeches from celebrities and philanthropists, the banquet entered the auction segment of the night. The first round was to bid for the items donated by the celebrities. Some of the items donated by the celebrities included branded handbags they were spokespersons for, some clothing of sentimental significance, and some accessories. Basically, there were all sorts of things put up for sale. Because they were items donated for charity, all of them did not have a starting price, but overall, the last bid would usually be higher than the original price, and the prices would be associated to the celebrity's status and reputation. Because of her schedule, Glory World Entertainment's artiste, Millie, was not present, thus all the attention fell on Emma. She was Starlight Entertainment's rising star and Ning family's daughter, while Liam was from Imperial's most powerful family in the upper-class circle, so naturally, the two of them attracted everyone. The next item is Miss Emma's own diamond bracelet. There's also no starting price. Everyone can begin to bid for it. The moment Emma's item appeared, there were continuous bids. $100,000. $120,000. $180,000. $500,000. A beer-bellied tycoon had just straight up called, causing quite a commotion. The original price of Emma's bracelet was only $300,000 at the most, yet that tycoon had not started from the bottom. Instead, he just bid for a price several times more than the original. Chapter 1194. Despite so, the passionate bidding did not seem to slow down. In fact, it had started to increase by the hundreds of thousands. $600,000. $700,000. $1 million. $1.1 million. $1.2 million. Even though Emma and Liam were a well-known couple, Emma still had many suitors and admirers. When they saw Emma appear at the event with Liam, many men started to compete for the bidding out of jealousy and hatred. To add on, because of those who were supporting the Brown and the Johnson families' reputations, the bidding prices had unexpectedly broken into the millions and continued to go up, breaking Emma's own record from the previous year. Many of the female celebrities looked on enviously at the situation. Pfft, it's nice to have a solid family background. People will support and protect them wherever they go, even getting a husband who's a public figure with a well-matched social status. Unlike us, despite all of the hard work and training we do, we are just toys in their eyes. Well, who let them excel at reincarnation? They were rich the moment they were born, unlike us. $5 million. At this moment, bidder number 60 raised their card. 60. Mr. Liam raised his card. $5 million. Mr. Liam called for $5 million. Is there anyone who would like to challenge this bid? Anyone? On the stage, the auctioneer was already excitedly shouting as he looked below the stage. The person who had bid was Liam. For $5 million. He caused quite a commotion. Her rightful owner had come out and called for such a high price at a go, so all those supporting earlier obviously stopped bidding. As for Emma's admirers, they were all reputable people and it was enough. They would not want to look too obnoxious at such an occasion by being jealous, so they could only unwillingly keep their cards. Would anyone else like to bid higher? No. Calling once. Calling twice. Calling 3 times. The auctioneer asked 3 times in a row. When he saw no one else was contesting, he slammed the mallet down. Bam! Mr. Liam is now the recipient of Ms. Emma's diamond bracelet. Congrats, Mr. Liam. All of the guests laughed and teased, ha ha ha. Master Liam, General's fury for the lady herself. Emma looked at the man beside her with adoration. Liam, why did you? Liam gently gazed at her and said, I was already planning to bid for it. How could I let someone else have your personal item? Many people remembered that Emma's personal accessories were also bid by Robert last year, but this year it was Liam, so they could not help but lament to themselves about Emma's good fortune. On the stage, the auctioneer teased her for a bit, then gave his well wishes to the lovely young couple, Emma and Liam. He continued, okay, our auction goes on. The next item up for auction is... The auctioneer paused, then said, the next item for auction is a donation from Glory World Entertainment's Ms. Luna, a jade bracelet. When she heard the auctioneer's voice on stage, Luna's brows raised from the corner she sat in. Was her item put right after Emma's? Beside her, Bonnie looked at Emma's direction and looked resentful. How could it be so coincidental that we're right after Emma? This is probably someone's intentional arrangement. Emma had been in the limelight just now, so whoever was right behind her would just look bad. Chapter 1195. Ms. Luna has acted in director David's popular ancient costume film, The World, with our Emma. She was the second female lead, Ella, in the film, and the audience was very fond of her character, the auctioneer briefly introduced Luna. The world had indeed been a hit, yet she still had to be compared to Emma as one female lead and one supporting role, making her future seem bleak. Almost no one in the celebrity circle knew this artiste who played the role of a co-lead. After the auctioneer finished the introduction, Luna stood up and greeted everyone. When they saw Luna in person, many of them exclaimed and gasped in surprise instead. Yo! Since when did we have such an exquisite woman in the circle? She's damned pretty. There are many beautiful female celebrities in the circle, one after another are coming in. Could you possibly catch them all? This is different. This one is really beautiful. Look at that body. Has she only gotten secondary roles so far? It looks like she's not taken. What? CEO's son, are you thinking of something? Hee, I am. Of course, there were many in the circle who recognized Luna too. The few socialites beside Emma started to discuss when they saw her. Isn't this Brown family's adopted daughter? Brown family's adopted child? You mean the one they brought back from the village? Yeah. The last time, I saw her at Elder Ning's birthday banquet. I'm sure it's her. No way. Such a huge change. Back when I first saw her years ago, it was still Emma's coming-of-age party, and she was so unsophisticated that she even wore an imitation outfit. I heard that she was chased out of the family for stealing Emma's boyfriend and seducing Liam, then she got plastic surgery elsewhere and now uses her vixen face to enter the entertainment circle. This chicken wants to become a phoenix. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Okay, everyone can begin bidding. The auctioneer said. Unfortunately, the moment he said that, the crowd had weirdly quieted down. Suddenly, no one bid anything. On such an occasion, there definitely would not be a situation whereby no one would bid, unless someone had intentionally manipulated the results in the dark. Bonnie gritted her teeth. I knew someone would intentionally play such a trick. It's a good thing we're well prepared. Prepared with support? Luna leaned in to ask. Bonnie nodded. Exactly, to prevent such situations. I'll immediately inform him. To avoid this sort of awkward situations whereby no one would bid, or to intentionally raise the bid, many people would prepare some backup. That's exactly what Stacy had already prepared in advance. Bonnie was just about to inform their people to act when someone suddenly raised their card in the crowd. $1. At this juncture, the crowd instantly burst into laughter. Someone had bid $1. Who was it? The auctioneer broke into laughter too. Number 17, CEO Qian's bid, $1. CEO Qian is quite humorous. CEO Qian was also the tycoon that had bid most vigorously when Emma's bracelet was auctioned. Hey! Such a bully. Bonnie was furious. CEO Qian was definitely Emma's fan. Thankfully, at this moment, another CEO bid, $100,000. Number 39. CEO's son bids $100,000. The host looked at the plump middle-aged man not too far away. When the crowd heard CEO's son helping Luna out, all of them looked on with a thought. Everyone knew that this infamous pervert was just playing the hero saving the beauty card. He was obviously interested in Luna's beauty and wanted to attempt courting her. Chapter 1196. When Liam saw CEO's son bid, he looked upset and his hand inched up to raise the card, but the back of his hand had been expressionlessly covered by Emma. At this occasion today, many people knew about the dispute between them and Luna. If Liam helped Luna, who knows what gossip might come out of it. Emma quickly said, Liam, don't worry. Based on Stacy's way of working, there will definitely be someone else to help Sis from her side. Liam temporarily suppressed his impulse. However, when he saw CEO's son's salivating demeanor that he did not even bother to hide, an irritation remained in his heart. CEO's son called for $100,000. Anyone else? The auctioneer asked. $100,001. From a seat in the corner where there was no light, a person had indistinctly raised his bidding card. Pfft, $100,001? This is hilarious. You don't bid like that. They only added $1. Who's that? The host did not know whether to laugh or cry either, but the person had not gone against the rules, so he could only continue. The man from number 8 bid $100,001. CEO's son frowned and raised his card. $200,000. Number 8 continued to bid, $200,001. CEO's son gritted his teeth. $300,000. Number 8 continued, $300,001. The competition between the two of them attracted sneers from the crowd. Ha 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 ha. This is cracking me up. Who's this number 8? Could it be Luna's backup? This backup is so unprofessional. Who raises prices like this? How embarrassing. Luna's mouth twitched. Number 8, is our backup? Bonnie's face was stunned for a moment, then she shook her head like a rattledrum. She replied emotionally, no way. Why would Stacy hire such a stupid one? I've just called, but I'm not sure why I suddenly couldn't contact our guy. I don't know who this guy is either. Damn it. Could it be Emma's person slotted in to cause trouble? It must be. This is too much. Bonnie was about to explode from anger. Luna thought things were a little weird instead, so she turned slightly to look at number 8, but it was just too far and she could not see clearly who the person was. At last, even CEO's son was unwilling to continue bidding so embarrassingly, so he just gave up on bidding. Naturally, no one else would not bid as well. At last, Luna's jade bracelet had been bought by number 8 with the price of $300,001. The original price of Luna's bracelet was $30,000, $300,000, and the bid had just nicely exceeded it by $1. Everyone looked at Luna with condescension. I told you. Adopted children are like that. She's even worse at getting a backup. They actually bid like that. How hilarious. Ha 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 ha, exactly. Those from the village really don't know much. To hire a backup and not wanting to spend too much. This is how it will turn out. It's understandable, ha ha ha. Emma turned to look at Sophia delightedly and lowered her voice to say, you arranged for this person? Good job. Sophia had finally done something right. Sophia was actually confused. She did not know where this number 8 had popped up from, but when she heard Emma put it that way, she did not deny and just smiled along. Chapter 1197. Liam, I told you that sis would have her own arrangements. Her bracelet fetched a pretty decent price, and it shouldn't be too far from the original price. Emma looked innocently at Liam. Liam could not help but feel slightly relieved that he had not presumptuously bid earlier, or else, the person who would be humiliated now would not be CEO's son, but him. Luna was still not experienced and careful enough in dealing with these things. Bonnie still felt indignified all the way till the celebrity donation auctions had ended. She almost wanted to leave the banquet and rush to see who the troublemaker number 8 was. At last, she was stopped by Luna. If Bonnie had walked to number 8 now, it would only further prove that that person was someone they had arranged. Next up, the second round began. The second round was the auction of 10 items that were considered the climax of the event. These few items were the treasures collected from the elite members of society. The margin of the bid price that exceeded the original price would go to charity. There were many public figures from the political and business scene aiming for these rare treasures. The entire atmosphere became lively again. The bids were unstoppable and the final prices of the items were all very impressive as well. Emma had bid for a pure gold pen, intending to give to her father as a gift. She won praises from the crowd for being such a filial daughter. As for Liam, he had not bid for anything all the way up to the 9th item, so the crowd was curious and started to question. What's up? There are so many valuable babies today, but none that have caught Master Sue's eye? There is something. I'm waiting for it. Liam looked at Emma beside him and smiled. Emma smiled shyly back at him. As soon as he said that, the host's voice was heard from the stage. Now, we will exhibit the final item. It's also the rarest treasure in this auction. It's called Queen, and it is a crown that is embellished with 12 Colombian pear-shaped emerald gems. The gems weigh 600 carats, which is an astonishing weight. It was specially customized by country-wise King Charles for Queen Eugenie to represent his faithful love for the Queen. It was once sold as a private collector's item by an anonymous person for $30 million. This time, we are auctioning it off for the anonymous person for charity. Once the introduction was heard, the crowd all realized that this was the item that Liam had been waiting for. The couple's wedding was happening soon, and this crown was clearly meant to represent a token of their love that he wanted to get for the happiness of his belle. Sigh. My wife took a fancy to this too and told me that I must bid for it, but it looks like I don't have a good chance. One of the rich lads glanced at Liam with a helpless expression. The other few rich public figures, who were aiming for this crown, laughed too. No matter what, I must at least try. Many people were interested in this item. All of them were eager to give it a try while Liam maintained a calm expression, his determination clear on his face. With the Brown and the Johnson families joining hands strongly together, their business expanded greatly, especially for the latter. Their business had grown to the overseas market and they were astonishingly strong in terms of their finances, so it was no wonder why he was this confident. Of course, there were many others with the same capabilities in the auction room too. The fight for this item would probably be extraordinarily intense. Even the auctioneer's tone was abnormally emotional. Now, the auction begins. Everyone, please place your bids. $20 million. Okay. Now, CEO Zhao of number 31 opens with $20 million. Anyone else? $21 million. Number 56 bids for $21 million. $23 million. CEO's son has bid $23 million. Everyone knows that this crown of ours is very rare and precious. There's still some time to continue bidding. Would anyone like to place their bids? Chapter 1198. Because this item was incredibly expensive, everyone was still quite conservative when bidding, so not only was it lower than the base price, it only had increments of 1 or 2 million. The further it went on, the range of increment reduced too, especially after the bid had crossed the base price of $30 million as everyone started to bid more cautiously. The reason for the slow climb was because if the bid went past the base price, it meant that the bidder might suffer a loss compared to the actual item value. Of course, because this item had such a stellar reputation, even if the bidding price went over slightly, the bidder would not suffer too much of a loss. Besides, at such an occasion, whether or not something could be successfully sold depended on the bidders wanting to prove their reputation. No one wanted to show that they were weak in terms of resources, so the bidding continued. $38 million. CEO's son shouted in a hoarse voice. When they heard CEO's son's bid, everyone looked at each other in shock. Moments later, someone shouted, $40 million. Once it passed $40 million, the crowd started to shift around restlessly because it had surpassed the base price by a large amount. Even if one were to successfully bid for it now, it would not be worth it. Thus, the remaining bidders were the richer people or those with an extraordinarily strong interest in the item. Liam was one of them. $45 million. In such a situation, his bid caused a commotion instantly. The auctioneer's voice was shaking at this point. Number 60's Mr. Liam calls for $45 million. Is there anyone else who would like to continue? Even though the base price of this crown is $30 million, it's a rare treasure of the world. To encourage higher bids, the auctioneer started to introduce the fame and value of the crown. There were only 4 bidders left in the competition. Apart from Liam, there was still CEO's son, the rich merchant who had coveted Luna earlier, CEO Zhao Haisheng, who wanted to give it to his wife, Ling Fei, as a gift, and another person's identity who was a little unique. It was Liam's half-brother, Jason, who shared the same father but had a different mother. The reason Jason was bidding was obviously to simply compete with Liam. Those in the circle who were up to date with the gossip would know that because Liam had a lung disease and was ill when he was young, the Johnson family was afraid that he would not make it into adulthood, thus they took Jason in. The idea was to raise him to be Liam's replacement. If Liam died, Jason would take his spot. Unfortunately for him, after Liam recuperated in the village for a few years, but not only did he not die of sickness, he had even slowly recovered and was finally brought home to the Sue family. On the other hand, Jason, who had initially been raised to be the heir, had suddenly become an awkward existence. Today, these two brothers were fighting in the Sue family. Liam was still the eldest son and was born in wedlock, so he was deemed right and proper. Jason's current circumstances were very awkward, but because of the connections he had accumulated in his adolescence, he still had some power to fight back. The two brothers had started to compete on such an occasion. It was going to be an interesting show to watch. $46 million. Jason followed Liam's bid. $47 million. Liam shouted. $48 million. Jason again. $50 million. Liam retorted. $55 million. When Jason's bid rang out, the crowd looked at him with their jaws dropped. The second master of the Sue family was really going all out just for vindication. Mr. Jason bid $55 million. Are there any more bids? Mr. Zhao, do you still want to continue? The auctioneer looked at Zhao Haixing's direction. Zhao Haixing scratched his head uncertainly. Hold on, I need to call my wife to ask for further instruction. The entire crowd roared with laughter and teased him mercilessly. Chapter 1199. Ha ha ha, then I'll wait for you. The auctioneer howled. Very quickly, Zhao Haixing put down his phone and smiled apologetically. The wife says that it's too expensive, so we won't bid on it further. Please continue. Madame Zhao is indeed a good wife. The auctioneer concluded, then looked to CEO Sunday. What about you, CEO Sun? Would you like to continue? $56 million. Sun Jianping looked at Luna as he said, as if he was trying to brag about his wealth to the beauty. $56 million. CEO Sun bid $56 million. The two Mr. Seuss, would you like to continue? The auctioneer's eyes shone as he looked at the brothers, Liam and Jason. Jason looked miserable. He had reached his limit. If he continued to bid, even if he managed to get it, he would have suffered a great loss just for this vindication. His remaining supporters would also have opinions about his irrational behavior. At last, Jason could only gloomily say through gritted teeth, I forfeit my bid. The entire crowd sneered at him and Emma looked at him with ridicule too. He was just a bastard child, yet he wanted to fight with Liam for the limelight. How funny. Because the contest in this auction was so intense, Bonnie was getting frustrated in a corner. Due to her anxiety, she had forgotten all about her anger earlier as she pulled on Luna's sleeve to ask, Sis Luna, who do you think will win this crown? Luna was bored stiff as she yawned. Who knows? It has nothing to do with us anyway. What charity banquet? She was done watching all these so-called rich tycoons and public figures pretending to be cool. She might as well just donate the money directly to those who need it, but this was how it was in the industry. One had to put up a show. Even if she had privately donated a lot and done tons of charity, others would not know about her deeds or praise her. Nevertheless, of course, she did all those out of her conscience and did not need any praise. The maximum threshold of the bid was $60 million. They were probably about to determine the winning bidder soon, so Luna packed up her bag and was ready to leave to catch up on sleep. Bonnie was still mumbling to herself excitedly, even though I really wish it wasn't him, I've already predicted that it would be won by Liam in the end. Before this, Emma already said that she was here for the crown. Furthermore, the Sues are so wealthy. The moment she said that, Liam jumped the gun and shouted, $60 million. $60 million? The auctioneer's eyes flew wide. Mr. Sue has bid for $60 million. Would anyone like to continue? CEO Sun, do you want to continue? CEO Sun? Sun Jianping was red in the face. He did not say anything for a while. Obviously, this price was way more than what he could swallow. It was not that he could not pay for it, but as a businessman, even if he wanted face, he would not spend $60 million for such a trinket. The auctioneer knew that such a high price was very rare, so he knew it was time to end the auction and he shouted out, "Mr. Su, $60 million once." At this moment, there were already sounds of admiring exclamations, congratulatory remarks, and praises off stage. They are the Su family, after all. Indeed, he who has wealth speaks the loudest. Even Sun Jianping declared that it's game over. Emma is terribly lucky. If someone would spend so much money to buy me a crown, I would really wake up from my dream laughing. Congratulations, Master Su. You really went all out for your belle. It's not all out. This small sum of money is like a drop in the ocean for Master Su. Ha ha ha, you're right. Remember to invite us to your wedding banquet. Liam humbly responded to everyone's praises. Truthfully, he also let out a sigh of relief as he knew in his heart that $60 million was his maximum. If Su Jianping continued to bid, he would probably not be able to follow. However, as he listened to the crowd's compliments, he felt a great sense of satisfaction, while Emma intimately clung on to his arm and beamed sweetly at him. On the stage, the auctioneer started his second confirmation, $60 million, twice. $60 million, thrice. As these words fell, the auctioneer raised the auction mallet in his hand high. Once the hammer fell, the auction would be complete. The entire crowd held with bated breath to watch, waiting for the hammer to fall. Unexpectedly, as the auctioneer's hand fell halfway, in the silently tense air, from the inconspicuous corner behind, a card with the number 8 was slowly raised up. $100 million. Chapter 1200. $100 million? The auctioneer almost mistakenly flung his hammer in sheer shock. After he calmed himself down, he took a deep breath. Number 8 just offered $100 million. Mr. 8 offered $100 million. Gosh. Many people who attended the auction were anonymous, and number 8 was one of them, so the auctioneer only knew that the bidder was a man. He did not know anything else about him, hence the auctioneer merely addressed him by his number. There was a dead silence across the room. After a while, the crowd returned to their senses. Some people even stood up and strained to look back at the quiet corner, but they could only see a dark figure sitting there alone. The light was too dim to see his face, so they could only see his elegant pale white hand. Wow! Did I hear wrongly? $100 million? Did someone just offer $100 million? Is he crazy? Who exactly in Imperial has this amount of wealth to waste? Moreover, is this how you're supposed to bid? This is like throwing money away. It's as though money is nothing to him. $100 million, just for an accessory. Wait. This isn't right. If I'm not wrong, number 8 is the one who raised the offer? Wasn't number 8 with the new artiste called Luna just now? Right. I remember as well. He was raising the price dollar by dollar for an earlier item, then suddenly his bid has now jumped to $100 million. What's happening? Not just the crowd, the auctioneer himself was startled. After being an auctioneer for so many years, it was his first time seeing an auction like this. The price had leaped from $60 million to $100 million as if money meant nothing to him. In the end, the host wiped the sweat off his forehead while he went up to remind the auctioneer to continue his job. He took a deep breath. Everyone, please settle down, settle down. The auction is still in progress. Just now, Mr. Su offered $60 million before the third call, but it's not validated yet, and now guest number 8 has offered the crazy high price of $100 million for the crown EW know as Queen. Yes. $100 million. Anyone else going to challenge this bid? The auctioneer rattled this off in a single breath out of excitement. He actually bid for an item at a price that was ridiculously higher than the original price. This would definitely be one of the proudest moments of his career. The crowd returned to pin-drop silence after the auctioneer's short speech. The auctioneer glanced at Liam. Because he thought the crown was already his expression darkened. Having his item being snatched away all of a sudden and at such a high price, anyone would feel unhappy about it. Emma felt embarrassed, then she turned to Sophia. What happened? Isn't number 8 one of your men? Sophia was really confused, but she had to be honest with her right now. And no. Actually, I've been meaning to tell you just now. Number 8 isn't one of ours. I don't know who he is as well.